gonna make carrot cake today. So this carrot cake is a little bit different than the blueberry muffins. The blueberry muffins use butter and this uses oil, so it's a lot more moist muffin. A lot of the factors we're gonna add are going to increase the moisture level. We're gonna use carrots and orange juice. So it just gets, it's a moister muffin. So this is the one that I would use this type of batter to make chocolate chip muffins. The blueberry muffin batter was a little too dry to make chocolate chip muffins with, so I would not recommend using that one. Yeah, so let's get started. So you're gonna start the same way as you do most baking. Wet bowl, dry bowl, put them together, right? So let's start with the wet bowl. And I'm gonna use oil this time, like I said, instead of butter. So it's oil. And focus on measuring accurately. We use the liquid measuring cups for the oil measurement and the orange juice, and the dry measuring cups for the dry ingredients like sugar and flour. So here I have sugar and oil, and I'm going to use the electric mixer. Make that all come together. What I'm really trying to do is hope that the sugar crystals dissolve some even, and it'll be a little less crunchy. So any liquid that it dissolves in will help make the sugar crystals more smooth. I'm going to add in the eggs. Oh yeah, now it looks good. Now I don't see any sparkly crystals. Really nice. It looks like vanilla pudding. So good. So for the orange juice, you're actually going to use a real orange. We're going to grate the outside later on, so don't throw it away. And we have the citrus peeler. Now, when I first started using it, I definitely thought that that's how it went because it matches shape, but it doesn't. It's going to go in upside down, and I had to cut it. It's so big. And all the juice will come out of the holes. And when you have, how much does it call for? How many tablespoons? 2 tablespoons, right? 1 tablespoon, 1 tablespoon. So save that rind, I'm gonna use it later. And that goes into orange juice. So that's the first 5 things. That comes together to make your liquid bowl. Oh, and then the carrots. Woo! So nice. It looks so smooth. I don't see any crystals. Everything looks well blended. So for the carrots, you're going to use a grater. If you've never used a grater before, it's very, very sharp all the way around. If you're baking a big giant carrot cake, so this recipe is good for carrot cake too. If you're baking a big giant carrot cake, you can grate the bigger pieces. But this muffin is only going to bake for like 15 minutes. So use the smaller pieces and you just push the carrot up against the grater. It will grate your hand if you get too close, so try not to do that. Right? And we have these little fine pieces of carrot. Don't mind that carrot that fell on the floor. All right, that goes in. Well blended. So that's the first 5 ingredients that went in. The next thing you're going to do is get together the dry bowl, and the dry bowl, I think, is another 5 things, right? So just remember, your focus this week is on measuring. So I have my flour here, I measured it, scooped it up, leveled it off. On all of these spices things, there is a leveler on one side. So see how it goes straight across? All you do is you put your spoon in there, and as you pull it out, it will level it for you. Right there. So it saves you a step. It saves you some cleanup. It's just easier all around, right? So little spoon goes in, pull it out level. That one's nutmeg. Nutmeg is like cinnamon's big sister. They're like twins almost. Similar flavor. But it makes it really nice, like a little more complex. Actually, I have some real nutmeg here. This is what it looks like. They're very hard. And they look like this. So we could actually use some nutmeg right in there. And you just do this. So fragrant. It smells amazing. It just looks like cinnamon. It smells so good. Just a little bit to help make it more fragrant. So the last thing is the baking powder. Baking powder is, this one will need to be level 1. And I want you to remember to stir together your dry bowl before you put it together. That's the whole point of doing 2 separate bowls, is that all the dry ingredients get evenly distributed. Baking powder tastes disgusting, so if you do not stir it all throughout, you will taste it, and it tastes very, very bad. Wet bowl, dry bowl, put them together. This is a much more, I could see already, it's more of a batter, it's more gooey and wet than the blueberry muffin. Yeah, that's it. I love it. It's so fragrant. I can smell it. So I'm going to use my little ice cream scoop to scoop them all in. Fill them 2/3 of the way up. And they bake at 375 for about 15 minutes. So you set that up, each one separately, and then when you have the 2 separate bowls ready, put them together, bake at 375 for about 15 minutes, right? I like to let them cool before frosting them. All right, goes in the oven. Solve television. Oh, look at that. All right, and then you can just flip them out. That's it, okay? And we'll let them cool. It's delicious. So I don't know if you know this, but frosting is mostly butter. So all the frosting you eat is very, very delicious, and that's the reason. So we're gonna make this, we're gonna start with butter and cream cheese, equal amounts. And it needs to be room temperature to make sure it's soft, and they'll whip so much that they come together and it looks uniform. You will not see chunks of butter or cream cheese at the end. And then I add in powdered sugar. So I think your recipe is 2 ounces of cream cheese, 2 ounces of butter, and a cup of powdered sugar. And then you can add a little bit of flavoring to it or color. So you can add vanilla, or you can use some orange zest rind. So we'll add that at the end. Just start with the cream cheese, the butter, and the sugar. And we're gonna go on a low, slow beat to begin with. And it all comes together beautifully. So just scraping the bowl. As soon as all of that kind of looks together, you can turn the speed up a little bit more. This is thick. Scraping the bowl. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there it is. And then it'll just, all of a sudden it'll just be cream. So it'll be perfectly smooth, no chunks of butter, no chunks of cream cheese, no chunks of powdered sugar. All right, the last step is a little bit of flavoring. So you can use a dot of vanilla. Just keep in mind it does discolor things. So I use like maybe, I don't even think that was a half a teaspoon, maybe like a few dots. And you're gonna take the rind from your orange juice, and the microplane and just grate a little bit in. Only the dark orange part. If you get to the white part underneath, it starts to taste so disgusting, so don't use that. Just the dark orange part. So you have to continuously move it. And maybe that's enough. But as I take it out, there's a lot of orange zest in there. Orange zest and orange peel are not the same. The zest is super fragrant, and that's what you're going for. Beautiful scent. Get that all throughout. You barely see it. Just adds a much better scent. You could use lemon too. So I have some of these cupcakes here ready. Muffins, not cupcakes, sorry. And you're gonna use an offset spatula. This is a small offset spatula, and you can frost them. Just take a little bit, a dot, and you can rotate the cupcake so that it gets full coverage, and you can eat it just like that. You can put way too much on and eat it like that too. So it's up to you. I have green and orange. When you're using the piping bag, keep the bottom, the top part of it, the back end. Keep the back end super tight, because that's where you'll create a lot of pressure to be able to have it come out just like toothpaste, right? And I'm gonna have it come out and let it bleed out like a Sharpie marker. Let it bleed out and then drag down, and you'll get little carrots, hopefully. Food coloring. This tip I cut in a V shape, so as it comes out, it's gonna create leaf texture. And just let it bleed out and pull away when you think it's ready. So carrot cake muffins, they bake at 375 for about 15 minutes. If you're baking a cake in a big giant thing, I think it's about 45 to 50 minutes if you were going to make a big cake. All right, so I think that's it. You guys can watch next week. We'll add some more recipes, and this is home ec class, trying to do good things. Thanks.